Okay, hey everyone, welcome back to the Cherry Bomb podcast. We've got Sam back from The Simple Life of Sam. Hello.
Hello.
So today we've got an interesting topic, which is about emotional intelligence versus IQ in relationships. So we have had these conversations a little bit before. To start off, what's the difference between emotional intelligence and IQ from your understanding?
Well, I think we should probably clarify what emotional intelligence means for those who don't 100% know what it is. So it was first coined, the term in 1990, but then was sort of boosted by Daniel Goleman when he came out with his book, Emotional Intelligence, in 1995. And obviously he's got 5 compounds of that. But for me, what I would say is we can break down the 5 components of it as well. But from my understanding of emotional intelligence, it's recognizing, understanding and controlling our own emotions, as well as understanding and recognizing the emotions of other people. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much the gist of it. Then obviously IQ it's different. It's a measure of a person's reasoning ability. So it's how well we use information and logic to answer questions or make predictions. So it could be like for a puzzle, like puzzles are put down, something like that. Mm-hmm. Or using maths, symbols or anything like logic. That. Yeah, to come to a rational decision.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is more important, emotional or IQ?
I think they're both important in their own ways, mm-hmm. because you do need both. I mean, it's important to have both, but if you have to pick one, it would probably be emotional intelligence, mm-hmm. EQ, for those in a relationship. Because IQ is obviously important for you being able to make decisions together or working something out. This could be to do with bills or working out what the next step is and what you're doing, like house-wise, moving. Mm-hmm. But emotional intelligence, understanding each other and the emotions you have, that is more important because it also helps build your relationship as well. Mm-hmm. So whilst they do come hand in hand, emotional intelligence is more important in a relationship, as well as relationships with other people, not just boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever. It's important for relationships you have with other people in your life. This could be friends, this could be family.
Yeah.
But it's important to still have emotional intelligence because if you're with someone who doesn't have any or has a really low IQ, when you're trying to, you kind of have to sort of look after them in a way, tell them what to do each time, make sure they are listening as well so they understand it. Kind of having to repeat yourself as well when going through certain instructions. Like someone who doesn't have IQ and they're trying to follow instructions, maybe to build some IKEA bed.
Yeah,
they're going to struggle. So you do want some IQ, but overall emotional intelligence is more important, I would say.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree because especially like during dating, for example, people don't really look at all about the EQ. All they care about who's on paper. IQ wise, even, especially they would just want someone.
Probably someone with money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they've got money. I mean, a lot of us maybe can agree that someone who's rich, I'm going to say there's a rare people out there who definitely have empathy and they've got a bit of EQ in there, but who's super, super rich and all they care about is the materialistic side. And, you know, you meet someone like that and then when it comes to, say, your feelings, they don't even care. You're like, I don't want this. But at that time, it's already a bit late. So just because someone is on paper the right person, that doesn't mean they're your person.
It's interesting as well with that. From when I was looking and doing some research, the majority, this may be wrong now. I'd say, depending on how long ago the research was done, but the majority of millionaires don't actually have the highest IQ, don't have a high IQ, but they have a high emotional intelligence. So they able to understand people, work with people, and that's how they've become where they are now. They've got that emotional intelligence, understanding people. Like in sales, for example, they know what people want. They can understand that, recognize, talk to them, say, okay, I know what you're feeling. Okay, this is where we're going to go with this.
Yeah, I think it depends with sales. You don't really have to have the highest IQ. You just need to be really, really a people's person. Is that the right term?
Yeah. People pleaser, people person.
Something like that. As long as the other person can tell that you definitely actively listening, which is part of EQ, you can get very far. But IQ is obviously important as well because as well as you're a people pleaser, you don't want to be stepped on. You need to be smart enough to realize that as well. But this is, again, I don't know if that's part of EQ as well, or is that because if you don't even realize that, you need a balance at the end of the day, basically. If you want to be with someone, that they should have the right balance of it. But how can you tell by someone? If, let's say, what would you tell someone who is in the dating phase, how to look out for the other person's EQ?
I'd probably say how well they understand themselves, how well they know themselves, because I think the first part of emotional intelligence is self-awareness, which is one of the components as well. Self-awareness, understanding yourself, how you feel, your own thoughts and emotions, and understanding how they work. That's probably the first step of it, because then you can sort of see, okay, when you're speaking to someone dating-wise, you can sort of see, okay, they seem to understand themselves, know what they want, know how they feel, why they feel the way they do about certain topics, certain situations. So that's probably what I'd say to someone dating. Just see how well they know themselves.
Yeah.
And if they don't, maybe they've not spent time to focus on that.
I'd probably also say, if, let's say, we're on a date, on a first date, for example, I'd say to test them. I wouldn't say test the word, but like to see if they have the ability, is when you speak about your own day. For example, I'm going to be talking about my work day. I've been very stressful and things, and see if they're actively listening. And if they're like just concentrating on their food, they're like, okay, well, it's like everyone else. You already know. Okay, first of all, they not even listening at all. They're not showing empathy. They're not even involving in that conversation either. Whereas if they start all about talking about them, they don't even care how the other person feels like, hey, how are you doing? How was your day been? It's like you can already tell, okay, would you say they don't really have a high IQ? Yeah, sorry, EQ.
Well, with listening, also not just listening to respond, just so you can get your own words, get your own voice heard. Also just listening, just to listen, just to hear what the other person's saying, just taking it in, and then realizing, okay, because how we're talking now, my facial expression and my tone is setting the standard of how we are. Because you can understand if I get really angry or really upset, my voice will change, my tone will change, I'll be frowning a bit.
Body language, again, nothing.
That's also what you can sort of see on a date if you're going out for dinner or anything like that. With EQ, emotional intelligence on dates, you want to be, that's kind of another factor as well, not just listening for the sake of listening, just say, yep, I've heard you, now it's my turn to talk. Listening, then you can respond, showing the empathy. If they've had a bad day, you can sort of see it as well in the tone and how their facial expression is, the body language.
Yeah.
And then you can engage in that and say, okay, why do you feel it was a bad day? What happened? Like, if they've just said, if they're not giving an explanation first, I mean, if they just said, I've had a bad day of work, and you can sort of see it and say, why, what's happened? Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Actively engaging in the conversation and taking an interest in the other person.
So, you've touched obviously on self-awareness already, which is obviously a big part of the emotional intelligence, affects how we communicate. Can you kind of get into that? Like, how do you think self-awareness affects how we communicate?
Because you're able to talk about how you feel and why you feel the way you do. If you had a bad day and you're like, I don't know, and you just can't really get anything across, you're kind of stuck. You need to be able to say, okay, this is what's happened in my day. The way I felt at this sort of point in time is because these sort of things happened at this point in time. Being able to understand yourself, you're able to then, other person's able to understand you a bit better. They're able to say, okay, I can understand why they're feeling that. And it kind of links to empathy, because the other person can sort of recognize that and say, okay, they feel this way about this moment. They feel this way about this way about that. And they can get more of an understanding of why you feel the way you do. And it's easier to talk about that as well with the person. When you know what's going on, when you understand the way you feel and what emotions affect you at certain points of the day or certain situations or scenarios, the other person can say, okay, let's work through that. Let's break it down. Let's go through this first. And let's see why you're feeling the way you do. And what can we do to change that? So it helps with empathy. Self-awareness can also help with empathy from the other person. And vice versa. If you know yourself, the other person can then understand that and say, okay, let's talk about it. Let's go through it. So it helps with the communication, self-awareness. You're able to get your point across. You're able to say what you need to say and understanding why you feel the way you do.
I also think like self-awareness is also helps with our moods. So like one of the things I'm curious about is, and I know some conversations I've had with my like siblings or my friends always ask as well, you know, you're with a person and it's already a roadblock when they're like, I've just had an awful day, leave me alone. How to even tackle through that in a way, like to get through them, for them to able to speak.
So someone who's had a bad day and don't want to talk about it, maybe because part of self-awareness is accepting the way you feel and what, like the emotions you have, the feelings you have, the thoughts you have. So a person who may have a bad day and doesn't want to talk about it, they may not accept the way they're feeling. So they just want to sort of brush it off, push it aside, ignore it, which really it's not going to change anything. The best way to do it is talk about it, get it out there, express yourself, which is why for those who struggle with self-awareness, a really good tip, really good thing to do is journal. Write down your day, why you're feeling the way you do at certain points in the day. And then you can look back and sort of work through that and break it down and say, okay, this happened at this point in time. That made me feel this. Okay, I can see them two link. That's what's made me feel like that. And then you can sort of ask the question, can I change this? Do I have any control over this? If the answer is yes, then you can change it. If the answer is no, as hard as it may be for some people, you then just got to let it go if there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I think it is important to just to step back a moment when, obviously I feel like that if I've had an awful day or something has triggered me, I don't particularly like to talk about it, but I do tend to take a step back and deal with it myself, even though like I don't like journaling, but you know that I don't like writing things down. It's something in me for years. It's never helped. So for me, it's like, I just think in my head, it's like I'm taking my time. And I do think about like, well, is it the person that has triggered me? Is it the situation that's triggered me? Or is it something that I'm letting myself do it? And it's like, there's so many different components, obviously, you can think about it and be like, whatever has triggered you, what can I do about it? As you say, obviously, if there is something you can change, and there's always something you can do about. Like, if there isn't anything I can do about, I don't know, I always felt like, or I feel like it's never that case because, as you said, you need to let go, and that's already something that you can do. And yes, it's hard for people, but once you kind of mastered how to let go, it's easier.
I think with that as well, as they say, you can't fix the problem with the same mindset you have.
Yeah.
So it's why it's also good to talk about it in my relationships and dating. Talk about it. You're going to get a different mindset and you're going to get a different perspective that you may have not seen before. So that's why it is important to talk about these things.
So let's obviously, with Daniel Goleman, he's actually, he's coined the term.
Yeah. There was two journalists beforehand in 1990, but he sort of made it what it is today, sort of made it so popular, the term. And that's where a lot of probably the research has come from his books, and more research has probably gone into that from him.
So it's just for people who don't know who he is. So he's a psychologist who, as you've already explained, emotional intelligence.
He's a psychologist and science journalist, to be precise. Yeah. So that's why some people are a bit funny with him. When we watched the other day, some people, because he's a journalist, they don't really take him seriously. But it's not like, I believe it's just because the term never came around beforehand. There probably wasn't much research done about it before. But now that he's sort of brought it about, you're obviously going to get people that don't like it, and you're going to get people that do like it.
Yeah.
But it's just it's just his research. People can expand on it, can go their own way with it. It's entirely up to the person. Yeah.
I was going to mention he was a journalist, but he has written the book Emotional Intelligence, Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. And his 5 key areas was self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. That obviously importantly matters in relationship. Do you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
Would you say it's a foundation in a relationship.
Yes, but just going back on what I said there, I would change the internal motivation that he's coined there, that he said, because it's like, as he says, it's a passion for what you do, not being driven by the benefits, like in a relationship or anything like that. But motivation is not always going to be there. There are days that you're going to have to just be disciplined. And it's kind of what I read from someone else. I've got one of the quotes here as well. Like, the emotionally immature man seeks out motivation to do something hard one time. The emotionally mature man uses discipline to do something hard 1,000 times. So motivation is not always going to be there. Some days it's not going to be there and you won't do anything. But discipline, you're going to be working at every day. And that's like the self-awareness, like journaling for some people or meditating, sitting still. You're going to do that every day because you know you need to work on that. You know you want to improve yourself. That motivation is not going to be there every day. It'd be great if it was, but that's what I would probably change it to discipline. Obviously, it's his book and his work, but I would probably change that to discipline because you can't just rely on motivation every day. It's not going to be there, but the discipline will be. In
a relationship.
Yeah, it's more so for working on yourself, like the self-awareness, the social skills, knowing that you need to sort of improve if you need to improve, but yeah, motivation is not going to be there. You need that discipline.
I think, in my opinion, motivation turns into discipline. You need to kind of push yourself. If, let's say, and obviously I'm kind of basing that purely, strictly in a relationship.
But pushing yourself is a discipline.
Which you need motivation first. So you're just going to force yourself doing something that ends up being a discipline, even though you have no fun.
You can still have fun with discipline. Discipline just gives you more control, more freedom. You're the one who takes control of that. Like, it's like another point of it is like, from what I've read, is like some days, like for example, some days you're not going to go to sleep well and things don't go well that day. The emotionally mature man will still do what he has to do to stack his wins, to focus on his purpose. Whereas the emotionally immature man will say, I didn't sleep well, I had bad nightmares, I'll just stay in bed all day. Whereas you need to get up, you need to go and do the work. So and you can have a discipline because it's also, it can become a devotion first, a love of what you do. And because of that love of what you do, or loving what you do, it then becomes discipline as well. Because it's not really discipline, but you just love what you do. You enjoy the work, you enjoy the process. But motivation, I just don't think it's not there every day. You need the discipline because there are days where you're not going to feel like doing anything, and the motivation won't be there, and you won't do it because you're not motivated. But the discipline, like, I need to do the work. I need to do it. I want to be better. I want to improve myself. I want to improve and do well for myself and to help this relationship. Whereas someone who's just motivated won't. They'll just say, oh, it's another day, I'll just do it tomorrow. And motivation will be there then. But then tomorrow comes and it may not be there.
Yeah. Fair enough. I guess my mindset is a bit different. Very. Which is fine, obviously. I do get where you come from, definitely with the discipline. But I think for me, if, let's say, I create my own motivation. So even if, let's say, I don't feel like doing something, I feel like absolutely groggy one day, I create a motivation. I'm like, you know what? If I actually get out of this bed now, I'm going to treat myself in a few days' time. I'm just going to work hard, which does turn, in my opinion, in my eyes, to a discipline because I then carry on doing it. Whereas this is just the way it works for me. So that's why I say, I'm not, obviously, that, like, if Daniel Coleman says motivation is part of it, it's part of it. There is discipline as well. But motivation is still very important in a relationship. Otherwise, how are you going to carry on? There will be days it's an absolute drag to be not in love, because that's different. You're always going to be in love with the other person. That's no matter what. But to be motivated to do anything, to, let's say, take your boyfriend out, your girlfriend out, like, there should be still some type of motivation. Not just for yourself. I'm not talking about self. I'm talking about in a relationship, two people. That if one person doesn't have the motivation, then the other person should be having it. That's what I, like, tried to get, basically. So that's why I say, like, the foundation. I think as well as motivation, discipline should be part of it. I wouldn't remove motivation, I would add discipline. I know we've talked about empathy. How would you say empathy plays a role in how we connect, especially when we're dealing with challenges? And I know you've kind of said like, listen to them, engage and things like that. But what about people who haven't gone through the same like a challenge that they have?
I'd probably say to them, it's just, with empathy, it's just understanding and reacting to the other person's emotions. So maybe just being there for them, just understanding them, letting them talk, just being there to sit and listen and respond when, not necessarily when you have to, but when they want you to respond to the other person, not just responding just to show that you're listening, but actually just taking the time just to take it all in, understand them. But if they haven't been through challenges, they haven't been through challenges yet. But there's other ways to still show empathy if the person's just had a bad day or something's on their mind, and you can see it with the body language or the tone of their voice, and you can just sort of stop for a moment and say, okay, let me just take that in. They're different. Their voice is different. The body language, they're shrugged. I can see something's up. So let me just pause for a moment, just take that in, and then engage with the other person. Say, I can see something's different today. Do you want to talk about it? Is there something going on? And then if they don't want to talk about it right now, that's okay. If they want to talk about it, they want to talk about it. Maybe they just need a bit of space. But just when the time comes, just listen. Just understanding why they feel the way they do. And then when you understand it, you're better able to resolve the issue, resolve what's going on for them. Maybe they just need someone to listen, someone to talk to, or someone just to listen, sit there and listen. But for someone who hasn't been through challenges with a person, there will be challenges at some point. But if you start understanding each other first, beforehand, getting used to how the other person thinks, how they react to their emotions, then when the time does come for a challenge, you're both better able to resolve it, handle it. It's like
the connection also deepens within the relationship between each other as well.
Yeah, well, when you understand each other, you're able to grow together as well, know what tics you have or what sort of gets you going, like what sort of gets you angry or upset.
Yeah.
And then you're better able to handle them, better able to avoid them as well. So, okay, this is what happens when this sort of happens to you. Let's get rid of that. Let's throw that out. And then you can grow from that. You both can grow from that. Because relationship's a team. It's not just one person.
Exactly.
You got to work together otherwise and grow together, because otherwise it's not going to work.
I also think, let's say for people who are listening and watching who are single, that practicing empathy is very important from the get-go, from like when they date. Like if you start to focus on how someone else is feeling, that rather than just your own expectations, that it can change how you like bond connection from the beginning. But for people who, let's say, they want to work on the empathy, it's like sometimes I'm always like struggling what to even tell them. Like I'm like, just listen to them.
I was going to say, it's because if they're single, then they're not dating or anything like that.
Yeah.
You got friends, you got family, you can just talk to them, listen to them. There's other ways to do it. Sometimes you may not, you may not be seeing anyone. That's okay. You've still got people in your life, hopefully for these people. There's got to be someone else in their life. I'd like to think it's important to have them social connections.
Even with pets, if you see a dog crying, you're yelping, you've got a bit of an empathy and you're like, oh, I'm sorry. Like that is literally empathy. And a lot of people don't realize it, that it's like a muscle. You need to flex it or flex it to get better at it. So there is no way of perfecting.
I don't believe in perfection.
No.
You just get better and better.
Yeah.
There's always room to improve. You can make 100 shots, but let's improve that. Let's make 101 shots. Let's make 102. You can keep improving. There's always room for growth. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, there's always room for growth. And even if they don't think it, okay, then be consistent with it. You just got to keep going. There's always somewhere to improve.
And I also think, like, when you're dating, give your full shot, like, emotionally being involved with the other person. And if it doesn't work out, just walk away, because at least you've given your full shot, not just intellectually. You just know, okay, you've got both, but this other person feels differently.
But there's other things they can do as well. It's like self-regulation.
Exactly.
It's also... excuse me. It's also controlling and managing your emotions as well, how you react. And it's there's always a moment between the stimulus and the response. There's always there. And that's that in that moment is for you to breathe. Just to say, okay, this has happened. How am I going to respond to this? Or am I just going to be full out rage? Or am I just going to full out cry? Or am I just going to be full out annoyed? So many different emotions. But there's always that moment you have to just sit there and be still and just actually take it in. Just say, okay, this is how I'm going to respond. Am I going to let this control me? Or am I going to control it? Because also with emotional intelligence, it's realizing that you're the one in control of your own emotions. It's no one else's. Unless if someone gets you angry, then that means they're the ones in control of you.
Yeah.
So it's having that moment just when something's happened, just to take that moment just to sit, not literally sit, but just sit with the thoughts, sit with it and just go, okay, how am I going to respond to this? How am I going to react? Because I do have control over this. I do have control over my mindset and how I want to react to this. Am I going to just show weakness and just be full out angry, letting them know that they've annoyed me and they can do that?
Yeah.
Or am I just going to remain calm and say, okay, that's happened. Let's move on.
Yeah, I think self-regulation is something I've struggled, and I think you know that as well. I think in the beginning, I always showed people my emotions because I'm always like, I'm bursting out of emotions. But once you've said, well, if you show the negative energy or the negative emotions, other people are going to know that they have control over you, especially your emotions. They can play around with it. Once that actually got to my head, I was like, I'm not giving that satisfaction. I'm not going to do that. Obviously, people still do annoy me, but I'll come to you and just vent about it. And then no one else, they don't need to know about that. But now I'm just like, either ignore the message because I'm like, I'm absolutely not going to waste my energy on this. Or I block them because I don't need to give them the satisfaction of giving an explanation either. Or I just leave them unseen. The same thing, I don't respond to them. You just leave it. And the more I've done it, the better I felt. And obviously I have my outbursts for like a second. I'm like, what that on earth? Like, what is this? And then I'm like, oh, whatever, that's on them. Like, this tells me more about them than what it says about me. And I'm put a period on the end. That's it.
Well, a good tip for those wanting to control their emotions is some people may not, and some people will get this, maybe the wrong idea of this, but it is meditation. And that doesn't mean just sitting cross-legged, like going,
So many people actually get meditation so wrong. I was part of it.
It's just being still. It's literally being still. And what you'll do is you'll learn that things come and go, emotions come and go, and it's important to accept them all and to embrace them all because they're not a part of you. They're just something that you sort of goes through you. Comes in one ear, goes out the other ear, for example. But it's what you can do is when you just sit still with them and embrace them all and accept them, you can then choose what you want to do with them. Do you want to let them take control of you or do you want to be the one in control? But it's important to remember that the emotions come and go. You're not always one emotion 24/7.
No.
The emotions are fluid. It's constantly changing. And it's, again, some people may not think this. I spoke to someone about this before, but it's kind of a good thing. It's a positive thing because you're able to express all these different emotions. It's so complex and it's kind of grateful to be able to express all these different emotions as well. And that's part of accepting it, saying, okay, I can express this. That's incredible. Look how many different emotions I have. That's great. I can express all these, but I also can choose how I want to react and how I want to feel. And I think that's important for people as well. So just sit there with the thoughts and feelings and just watch them come and go. And then decide what you want to do with them, how you want to react afterwards and how you want to respond. Yeah,
I think in those situations, always take a step back, move away from the situation, think about it, talk to yourself. And I think for me, what helped is breathing exercise and just count. I think that always helped me just to divert my thoughts or like how I'm going to say, because when I say something, it's very blunt and I'll say how it is. And even though it's like, it might hurt them, but it might not, but that's not for me to control about it. I'll still say how it is, but it's still important to make them understand how it made me feel, but don't show like how it affected you.
Sometimes the truth hurts, It's more so, I think, because people know afterwards, once they've heard it, they realize, okay, yeah, she's right. I've actually done this.
But you have these people as well. They know she's right or he's right, but they're not going to give the satisfaction. And that's when, in my opinion, that's where, in my opinion, like you don't have EQ level at all. You just make the other person the victim, and you think you're also right, but you're not going to grow from it. So social skills. What do you think social skills is all about in a relationship?
In a relationship, it's, well, if we're going back to Daniel Goleman, he said the phrase friendliness with a purpose. It's treating others politely and with respect. And if you're in a relationship, you kind of want to do that with your other partner. I mean, if there's no politeness with them and you just treat them like shit, really, how's that going to end? Or if you don't have respect for them. And I get it. Respect can take a bit of time to get or to earn, but that's what you probably do in the dating part of it. You're learning to understand the person, learning who they are, their mindset, their thoughts and perspective on life and everything like that, their goals, purpose. You can go on with the list. But in that period, you will, if you vibe with the person, you get on the same wavelength, you're understanding their emotional intelligence and they're understanding yours, IQ level as well, all of it. With that, you're able to build that respect as well from the other person, that trust. And the trust and respect, I believe, will go hand in hand. Without, you don't really have one without the other. If you trust someone, you probably respect them. And if you respect them, you probably trust them. They come hand in hand.
Yeah.
So once you're building that relationship with the person, the respect will come. But it's important in relationships because you don't have either of them. It's most likely going to break down at some point. If you don't respect the other person, what are you doing with them in the first place? There's got to be another alternative motive or something like that. It's just negative.
100% I agree with you. And again, it has to happen in dating. In your dating phase, why are you struggling? I mean, fighting about when you're already in a relationship. Who made the shot of calling it a relationship then? Why are you not discussing about this in the dating phase? If someone already does not trust the other person, you don't belong together. Just stay friends. Even then, I don't have a single friend that I don't trust. I'll be very worried. Even the social skills come in a friendship as well. All these 5 components, thank you. They don't only apply in a relationship, they also apply in friendship as well. So it's very important to have that. And if you don't respect your partner, like, of course, like now I'm realizing a lot of things. So I'm looking back at the past, none of the people I have been with have respected me. And that kind of made me feel like I've lost respect for myself. And I think people should really realize if someone calls you names just because you've expressed your feelings, just leave, because you're losing your own identity. And if any of these 5 components lack and from one or the other, I think you should either talk about it, and I feel like everyone should realize what these are and practice as well. If you really want to be together or you want to find a husband, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a wife, or anything like that. And if one or the other doesn't have one of them, then just talk about it and practice about it, but together, not just, I don't feel like one person just should be like, oh, go and practice self-awareness. No, they need help. If they've never been like that and if they've always been a selfish person, it's very difficult to think of others, I guess.
Just to be clear, I do respect you.
Yeah, no. I'm talking about past guys. Are you in the past now as well?
No.
We've heard it here for the first
past,
time.
Present and future.
No, I know, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I was going to say with it, especially the part where if someone's lacking in one of the areas, because you're not going to be perfect in all of them. And again, we talked about perfection before. It doesn't really exist. But the point is, there are going to be some areas where you may not be as strong as. You're going to have different strengths and weaknesses. And it may be different to your partners, which to be honest could be better, because that way you can help them with their weaknesses if they're your strengths, and vice versa. They can help you with your weaknesses if they're their strengths. But the point is, like we said, you're in a team. You grow together, you work together, and you get closer through that. And it's important as well. You don't want to just be lacking in one of them. Of course, there are going to be ups and downs with that, but you're still going to work through it. You're still going to improve it. You're still going to grow from it. And you're going to be better. The relationship's going to be better for it as well. It's going to be a positive experience. Whilst it may be difficult at times to understand, because there may be certain emotions you've not felt before that you are feeling now. But that's great. It's okay. We're going to deal with this now. Let's get through it. We can work through it together, and let's break it down. And then we're just going to get stronger and better for it. So it's a positive experience, because it's a journey. You're going on together. Whilst you've obviously got your own lives, your own person, your own
but it's a lot easier.
But that's the thing. You've got someone there with you who's going to be there with you, by your side, helping you through it wherever you need to. Going to support you, going to motivate you. They're going to.
Do you think your life is a lot easier now?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, my life has been a lot easier. I don't have to do anything. Well, I do, but I mean, like.
But we understand each other. Like,
yeah,
I know your alone time is when you go and cook.
Yeah,
you need that. I don't. Yeah. Like before, I would have bothered you.
Yeah,
not in a bad way. That's like, do you need help? Do you need
I
anything?
know.
But I now know. It's
like,
your
I know
alone time.
it's a sweet way as well. Before people come and trash me, like, I know it's a sweet way for you to come.
I'm joking.
Really?
I'm joking. You just kick me out. Not physically. It's your alone time.
He does come. Like, you do come into the kitchen. You want to help, obviously. A lot of people will be like, oh my God, that's so romantic. Yeah, maybe for him, not for me. For me, it's just like, this is my therapy session. It's therapeutic for me. I love cooking. That takes me an hour or two or something like that. And sometimes, hey, we have cooked together. I'm like, make pizzas. I'm like, hey, do you want to come and do your own pizza? And I like it.
Yeah.
You know, because they're only like 5-10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, this is fine for me. Yeah. And then I like my own time. But if I'm doing one thing, you're doing another thing at the same time, which is like.
Clean the dishes.
I don't make him clean.
No, I do it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's because I want to.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, like, you setting the table, you know?
Yeah.
You get the cutleries quickly ready, making sure that I've got my drink as well. And when we have dogs, then you're making sure the dogs are in one place. And, you know, serviettes and things like that. And when we finish food, you take the plates, and then next day you wash up and you clean up and everything else. So even with the dishes, okay, you know what? The best thing is ever, why my life is so easy. I've not touched once the bins. Because you do it. Like, Monday routine is literally for you like that. In the mornings, before you go to work, you empty it. Because I know. I come downstairs and I open the bin just to check, I wonder if he's emptied, and you've emptied it. I'm like, that's literally every single Monday. I know.
But I feel like that's kind of, again, I feel like it's kind of a man's duty as well. I don't want you, people may have different points of view on that, but I feel like I have to do it. I can't let you do it. It's not, whilst it can be a bit dirty or like just not a nice experience, but I'd rather do it anyway.
Yeah, I know.
There's certain things I'd rather do just to save. I wouldn't want you to do them. I just wouldn't want you to.
I know.
But I also know you like certain things you wouldn't mind doing, but it's just like, no, I know
that.
I want to do them. I'd rather you not. And it's just, again, understand each other. I know.
Exactly.
Like, you know I'll do it, and I know you do certain things as well. But that's just being part of a team.
Exactly. And that's why it works well. Although we do sometimes butt heads, but I think it's more because of me, because I don't let you. As in, like, if I want to do something, it's like, no, just let me. But now I'm like, okay, if you said twice, I want to do it, I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's okay. I'll let you do it then. But one of the questions, would you know, what social skill do you think that people sometimes overlook but could make a huge difference in a relationship?
It's interesting.
Should I share mine first? And then you can.
Yeah, if you want to share yours.
I think it's patience.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people, have been part of that as well. Like, it's such an underrated social skill. It's like giving the other person the time to explain themselves as well. Like, that patience. There's so many people who will go into like such a quick judgment about it, instead of, there can be like, a picture says 1,000,000 words, I think it's, or 1,000 words, they say. but just give them, for your own sake, for your own relationship sake, the patience to let them explain if that's kind of an argument happened, or just let them explain and wait and listen out again with active listening. But I feel like overall it's the patience that it is. And it is a very difficult task to even master it as well. It also obviously shows that you're willing to give them space as well. Like when you know I'm in a sad type of mood or I just want to be alone, obviously you give me that space, but it's also patience because you wait around. You're so patient until I come around and come and speak to you. It's the same thing when you're going through something, even though you speak up about it anyways. Sometimes I overthink and I feel like, oh my God, there is something wrong. But even then, I just wait around because if you once you're ready, you will come around and tell me about it. So that's why I think it's patience.
I definitely agree with that. I think patience it's important to have. It's an important virtue to have. I think the saying is, I could be making this up, but I'm fairly sure the saying is, patience is a virtue many want, but few have. And if you want it, you just got to wait a little bit longer to get it. It's kind of in itself saying, be patient and you will be patient, have patience. But I think patience, yeah, it's important to have that. And I'd say this as well, this is not necessarily for us, but for those other people, this could be, is to be more open-minded, just to listen to the person, just understand their point of view and their perspective. Because some people are just like, I'm right, you're wrong, this is why. And then you can explain, every person can explain stuff, say, well, this is how I feel and this is why. You go, no, I don't care. Like, it's my way or like the highway. Like it's that. And some people just need to sort of learn to accept that everyone's got different thoughts, different perspectives. Yeah. And it's sort of, okay, I understand that. I get it. Personally, this is how I feel. And just sort of talking about it as well. Just breaking it down. You may not change your mind at the end of the day, but at least be open to the fact that someone else has got a different point of view on the situation or topic. And it's a good trait to have. You just don't want to be closed-minded for everything. You don't want to just be like, I'm always right. This is wrong what you're saying. This is wrong what you're saying. Your opinion means like fuck all. It's no, I understand what you're saying. Okay, maybe you're right. Yeah, I didn't see it that way. Instead of just going, no, and just closing the door on it. So I think open-mindedness and being open-minded, it's important to have. But I definitely agree with the patience as well. I think that's really important.
I think patience, being open-minded as well. And I can't think of anything else that people people overlook.
I don't think it's maybe overlooked, but maybe just honesty, being honest with yourself in the relationship and just being honest about how you feel. It's, again, maybe not something that's overlooked, but certainly something that could be improved on, more so in being honest with yourself, not just saying things for the sake of it, just like, because you want to avoid the conversations. Like someone could say, how are you? Like, yeah, I'm like the normal conversation to have with someone, like a mate, like, yeah, how you doing? You good? Yeah, all right, mate, you? Where it's just automatic for some people. But if you really said to them, no, how are you doing? Like, come on, how are you doing? You're more than likely not going to get, yeah, I'm good. You're going to get an honest, because you don't actually are. No, they can see it's been a while. I can see something maybe's up.
Exactly.
But instead of just having a normal, yeah, let's just quickly get this out of the way. Like, yeah, I'm good. You? It's actually saying, no, I'm not good. This is why. So I think just being honest with yourself about how you are, how you feel, if there's anything going on in your life, maybe there's just some thoughts you're rattling with in your brain. And maybe you just want to talk them out. So honesty, again, maybe it's not overlooked, but I do think just being more honest with yourself, because the person that knows you best is you. And if you're not even being honest with yourself, then like, how can anyone else tell what's going on?
Yeah. And then you're all upset because the other person can't tell.
And it's sort of like, I don't even know what's going on with me, because you don't really know who you are if you're not honest with yourself.
Exactly. So now, before we obviously wrap up, I thought it'd be fun to answer a few questions from Instagram that we received quite a bit. By the way, thank you to everyone who sent them. They're all interesting. We're going to carry them on.
I mean, you probably
in the
will.
next, yeah.
I won't be there.
Well, every time, some of them, they are based on both of us. So I'll be saving them next time we're both in together. Some of them, I'll be answering them myself. If I have a next guest, maybe I'll answer it with them as well. So let's see. The first person. Do you believe love at first sight?
No. Lust at first sight, probably, but not love. Love isn't something that happens over. It's not something. Love doesn't happen instantly, but it's not a sort of set time. It can be, I don't know, an hour. Not an hour. Let me rephrase that. It could be like a few weeks. It could be a month. It could be a year. There's no exact time on when love takes place. But just from looking at someone, you might think, oh, she's the one. But like, no, you just think they're really attractive. They're really attractive. It's what you want right now. But maybe once you get to know them, it's not there. The connection's not there. So it takes time to get to know someone. You can't just fall in love instantly. Who knows? Maybe that person who you really like, you're lusting over, maybe it does turn into love, but it's not love at first sight. No. You can't get that. It's a complex emotion. It's too complex just to be happening at the first time you see someone. Yeah. Love's built from the connection you have with that person. So yeah, lust at first sight, probably. That's what they're thinking if they're thinking it's love, but get to know the person first and then you can really see if it's love or not. Or if it's just, they're really attractive. I just wanted to be with them right now.
I like that, lust at first sight, but not love. What made you feel ready for a relationship? Especially you.
Especially me. Is that what it says? Especially Sam.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What made me ready? Working on myself. I had a lot of stuff to work on within myself. And I took the time to go and do that. It took, again, it's constant. It's going to last until the day I die. I'm always going to be working on myself, but I needed that time alone just to be with me, just to focus on me, who I really am, what I really want in life, my purpose, my goals. I needed to just take the time to focus on that. And then it got to a point later in my life where I was in a good position, good spot, good headspace, good mind. Everything was really good. And I wouldn't say I was ready. It just sort of happened. Like it was just it just naturally happened with you. And I just knew in that situation that, I am ready for this. It's not something I'm going to go out then it's going to happen. It just happened naturally for me. I just took the time, but beforehand I needed to take that time. Again, self-awareness. I needed to take that time to understand me, understand my thoughts, my emotions, the way I feel about certain things. And once I had worked on that, I felt more comfortable in myself. I was more confident in myself. And I knew that if something did happen, I'd be ready for it. And fortunately, it did happen. But just taking the time to work on me. And once I knew I was in a good position and good headspace, good mind space, positive, I was then ready for it. But there's no set time. Again, there's no set time or anything like that. It just happened naturally. Everything just aligned accordingly. What about you?
No.
No, you're not going to do me? Okay.
No, it's fine. What made me ready is that I think because we were already talking on and off, but then definitely when we started talking, we definitely we got into knowing each other. It's what I like, what you like, what you don't like, what I don't like. And we kind of also spoke about certain different situations, scenarios. We've really got into what we like hobbies, not even hobbies, music-wise, interests, exactly. Got to know, and we're very similar, but also so different. And it's anything, it only started I guess November time-wise or December, I don't know. It's when I went to Spitalfields and I picked up, without knowing, this music box. And I'm like, oh, Sam will like it. And I bought it. After I bought it, I was like, why? Why did I just buy it for him? I don't know when I'm going to see him. And that's when I spoke to my siblings about it. And you really like him? I'm like, I guess I do. And then when we obviously met, obviously I was shy the first night. But I really thought it would be so easy to talk to you because we've been talking for such a long time. But after seeing you, I struggled. I couldn't get anything. And then I called you an orphan. Later on. But I think also months later, when you left and you came all the way back, I think something in me there kind of made me feel like I don't only just want to date this guy. I want to be in a relationship. And I saw future with you. I think for now, we're going to wrap it up. There's a lot more, so I'm going to save them all. I'm thinking of maybe doing some Instagram videos and replying to certain questions if you're interested in doing that as well. But yeah, that's all the time we have for today. So thank you so much for everyone to listening and watching us. But there is a lot more into the EQ, obviously, and IQ. So I might think about doing a part 2. There's a lot more questions I wasn't able to get around it. And I know you've done a lot of research, so I want to hear more. So we'll do a part 2 soon.
Yeah, that's good with me.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for joining me again, as per
My
always.
pleasure.
And so don't forget also to check out Sam's podcast, A Simple Life with Sam.
Do it.
There is new episodes coming out nearly every month, isn't it?
Yeah, normally every 2 weeks I aim for.
Yeah.
So check out them this week or in 2 weeks' time.
But yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you next time.